All right. Are we working? Are we good? Is my audio okay? My mic's moving okay, I think we're good. Sorry, I've been having some technical difficulties. Apparently, my computer decided that none of my accounts that I use to operate this should be allowed to sign in anymore. Yes, and Kiwi's pitiful meows reflect my current emotional state. All right, well. Now that I finally got that taken care of, on to the business at hand. So, we're going to again try the Dungeons and Dragons dice thing that I tried so long ago. And so, in order to do that, I'm going to get my dice out here. Where's the other one? Where's the other one? Are you the one I want? No, you're not the one I want. Where's the other one? I know I have another dice in here. Are you the one? You're the one. Okay. Alright. So we'll see which book of the New Testament I will be reading from. Here we have the official Pastor's Percolator cup. And we've got then a 0, which actually means that's a 10, and a 13, so 23. 23. 23 would be from 2 Peter. 2 Peter only has 3 chapters. So, in order to make that, I suppose my only option is with a 4 die. And if it comes up as 4, I'll just have to roll again. So, 2 Peter, 4-sided dice, into the cup. And we get, on the point there, well, technically, it would be 2, because 2 is the part that's facing up. So, from the 2nd chapter, I don't know how many verses the 2nd chapter has, so I'll just roll a normal 6-sided dice to get what verse. So, 2 Peter, chapter 2, verse 5. 2 Peter 2:5. 2 Peter 2:5. All right. I will be back with that.
Great is thy faithfulness, O God my Father. There is no shadow of turning with thee. Thou changest not, thy compassions they fail not. As thou hast been, thou forever wilt be. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. Summer and winter and springtime and harvest, sun, moon, and stars in their their courses above. Join with all nature in manifold witness to thy great faithfulness, mercy, and love. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. Pardon for sin and a peace that endureth, thine own dear presence to cheer and to guide, strength for today and bright hope for tomorrow. Blessings all mine with 10,000 beside. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me.
Oh, I do this and I get the most fun verses. All right, well, I'm going to expand a little bit from verse 5 and go a little bit farther into the passage that the verse belongs to, but I've highlighted the verse here in my Kindle app so you can see where the verse is, but here we go. Come on. There we go. God didn't spare the angels when they sinned, but cast them into the lowest level of the underworld and committed them to chains of darkness, keeping them there until the judgment. And he didn't spare the ancient world when he brought a flood on the world of ungodly people, even though he protected Noah, a preacher of righteousness, along with 7 others. God condemned the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah to total destruction, reducing them to ashes as a warning to ungodly people, and he rescued righteous Lot, who was made miserable by the unrestrained immorality of unruly people. While that righteous man lived among them, he felt deep distress every day on account of the immoral actions he saw and heard. These things show that the Lord knows how to rescue the godly from their trials and how to keep the unrighteous for punishment on the judgment day. This is especially true for those who follow after the corrupt cravings of the sinful nature and defy the Lord's authority. Oh, I love the fire and brimstone passages. Oh, and I bet that's my email saying that you're live on YouTube now. Thanks, phone. Yes. I think Kiwi's going to jump up on the back of my chair here in a second. So we can read these verses, and we can see it as God's righteous divine fury being leveled against the ungodly. Or, as like I said, there's reason I went a little bit farther. We see it as God saving people who are surrounded by immorality. There are times in our life where we might be put into situations where groups we belong to or people we're surrounded by might act in an immoral way. Maybe an organization that we belong to has put out a statement that seems to, almost be racist. I know of, back during the civil rights era, there were questions, especially when you got to college campuses, about Greek societies letting in people who weren't white. And it gets to the point that, well, what do you do when you disagree with what the society is saying? And what these passages, I think, should show us isn't so much that the evil people around you will be smited and they will be smoted quite goodly, but instead look at it that if you keep your convictions, if you keep your morality, if you keep hold of what you know to be good, you will get through it. In the case of Noah, we have the story of Noah's Ark, and everyone, of course, when they hear the story of Noah's Ark, they think of how God saw evil in the world, and so he flooded it to destroy it. Instead of seeing it as a story of God seeing this lone devout man surrounded by evil and worked with this man to save him from the evil he was surrounded by. We see the story of Lot and Sodom and Gomorrah. Now, Sodom and Gomorrah has a lot of undertones that people usually try to associate with homosexuality, but the problem is that the sin in Sodom and Gomorrah isn't homosexuality, it is rape. And God sees this man, Lot, surrounded by these cultures that think rape is okay. And God works to save Lot. Now, where, this letter stops is when then Lot has a moment of question. God tells him, do not turn around, and, well, Lot does. And he loses his wife because of it. I look at these verses, and instead of seeing the condemnation of the evil ones due to God's wrath, I see reassurance that even when we're surrounded by people we think are acting immorally, if we hold fast to our morals, if we hold fast to who we are, we will endure. This is where I'm going to let my nerd side come out. This is a constant subject in various media, television shows. How far do you get pushed into your morals when you're surrounded by a negative situation? And I see this no better presented than in episodes of Star Trek. Particularly Star Trek Voyager. For those of you who don't know, which is probably a few of you, Voyager concerns a ship that is catapulted 70,000 light years away from home. So they're literally the only human ship in 1/4 of the galaxy. And they've got a long journey home. They're all by themselves. And there are several times when they have to decide, do we hold to our principles and standards and regulations when we're, that we have when we're on Earth, when we're out here in the middle of nowhere surrounded by these seemingly lawless societies. And usually, very often, it becomes evident that only by holding to their principles can they endure. If we don't hold on to our principles when it's difficult to do so, they have no meaning. It can be easy to cast off our principles. It can be easy, I guess, the things that matter to me shouldn't have to when times are difficult. But those are the times when we need to hold on even more so. You think back to the early Christian church. The first century. Or you get the reign of Nero. Nero was not happy with the Christians in Rome. And made it his business, his personal goal, to wipe them out. When Rome was lit on fire, scholars debate whether or not Nero did that himself to pin the blame on the Christians. Yes. And then Nero took that as an a justification for essentially crucifying the Christians, and as their bodies are hanging on the crosses, to light them on fire. The streets of Rome were illuminated by the burning bodies of Christians. And so it would have been easy for those early Christians to say, well, we're going to die. Is the gospel really worth this? But they didn't. They knew that their story had to be shared, that their story of salvation needed to be shared with people who were suffering, who were stuck in this position where they were afraid that they would never, ever be able to escape. And so this story of a man named Jesus, who preached love, who preached good news to the poor, who healed the sick, who forgave sinners. This story had to be shared, and they did. There are times when it will be difficult to be who we need to be. But again, God is there beside us. And if we hold fast to Him, whatever may happen, we've kept who we are. And our spirit will endure. So if you feel that your faith is being challenged, or that you're in a situation that you cannot act in a way you know to be moral, that you know to be just, hold fast to your principles. Hold fast to who you are. Because God sees that. God stands with you. Draw strength from that. And so, with that being said, I invite you to join me in prayer. If you have prayer requests, you may leave them in the comments. Again, as always, do be considerate of other people's privacy as you do so. And if you, excuse me, if you have any other things you would like the churches to know, again, please leave it in the comments. Here in a little bit, I'll be going to the park here in Brandon for the picnic with the kids. So looking forward to that. And then Thursday evening, I will be in Cedar Rapids. The conference is organizing kind of a... Hi, Kiwi. The conference is organizing kind of a new... Well, I don't know how to describe it. They're trying to organize into circuits. And the 4 churches that I serve belong to the kind of the Cedar Rapids area district. And so I'll be going to Cedar Rapids this Thursday to meet with the other ministers in the circuit. So I'll just kind of get to know one another, kind of set the goals for the circuit, stuff like that. But other than that, my last week of my class, so I am eagerly looking forward to finally writing this last paper and then getting a couple weeks off before my next class starts in August. So that'll be something to look forward to. Other than that, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and so I invite you now to join me in a time of prayer. Holy Father, sometimes it can be difficult to hold on to our principles, hold on to our faith, hold on to the morals that define us. Lord, in these moments, give us the strength to stand firm. Give us the strength to keep hold of our faith, to keep hold of our principles. Remind us that when we do that, we walk with you. And if you are beside us, we can endure. Lord, in your Son's holy name we pray. Amen.